Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. Thanks for joining us. My name is Nanette Nocon, and today we're here to talk about the Hillside Work-Study Scholarship Connection, and that's through the Hillside family of agencies. We're pleased to know that the model here in Rochester is actually considered one of the models in the country. So we're very fortunate that today our guests are Elias Maldonado, make sure I pronounce your last name correctly, right. And Elias is one of the youth advocates for the program. And we're also pleased to have one of the students in here with us, Christopher Rush. Chris, thank you for being here as well.
You're welcome.
Elias, can you talk about the curriculum of the program, what makes it unique, and what's part of the program?
Sure. From what I understand, the curriculum of the program comes from the NEFI organization. I think it's what it stands for is the National Endowment of Financial Education. And what makes it, I guess, sort of unique, because the people who are coming in to teach that are actual bank managers from the Summit Federal Credit Union and some of their employees. So we're getting firsthand information from the bankers themselves on teaching these students.
So you have people from the community teaching and people about banking or other
financial management,
management skills. That's great. That's fantastic. So how is it funded? You talked about the National Education Endowment for Financial Education.
Sure. The way it's funded, it's first of all through the Roland Williams Youth Lifeline, and we're really appreciative of that, and also the Summit Federal Credit Union. They have both collaborated together to bring this program forth within the last several years and teach it to quite a few students throughout our program, and if I'm not mistaken, probably through other programs also.
That's very generous. So Roland Williams is the football player. Is that
yes,
right?
He is.
Okay, I don't know very much about football, but that's great. So
yes.
He is from Rochester.
Originally, yes.
And has come to fund this program to help others in the community.
Correct.
Isn't that generous? That's really wonderful. Great example.
Oh, definitely. And it's only just one of the programs that he, how could I say, invests into, because I think he does like a football camp in the summertime also, so he does quite a bit of things.
That's great. So Chris, what are the kinds of things that you've learned from the program?
Well, first, the most important I think was managing money. This whole program was about managing money, how to save it, where does it go, about taxes and what comes out of your check, how much you take home, gross income, net worth, stuff like that. That was the most
wow,
I thought was.
That's pretty impressive. So it's really just taking a look at how the money flows in and out and how it can be saved on a regular basis. Oh, that's great. That's great. So have you been using some of the things that you've learned?
Especially how to save money.
All right.
When I get allowance, usually before I would go to the store, get some chips or some snacks or whatever. But now I know, I'm gonna ask my mom later, she say, well, I haven't seen allowance, so now I learn to save it. And like for now, if I want sneakers, save it for that, or if I want to go with my friends somewhere, save it for that.
Wow, I'm impressed. That's fantastic. That's great. So it sounds like the program works. Now, who is the target audience for this, Elias? Who's the
target audience is youth,
okay.
Between the ages of 13, 14 through 18. Predominantly, they're high school kids that attend this program. We do have several middle school youth that attend it, but it is during that teen years.
Okay, just prepare them for a part-time job and then
correct.
Full-time working. Now, there's some really impressive numbers that have come out of the program. Tell me a little bit more about that, like in terms of graduation rates and...
Out of the work scholarship program itself?
Yes.
Well, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, our graduation rate is well over 80% per year when, we have noticed that the public education within the city of Rochester is well below, 60% or 50%. So that what we have done from our behalf, we've been able to really, our main focus is to get the kids to graduate from high school. And we are definitely seeing that happen within our program. And we're not just mentoring 10 to 20 kids, we're mentoring several hundred kids throughout the city of Rochester, and it's been very, very successful.
That's great. That's great, because we'd want, as a community, want to see those numbers lift, and certainly a program like this that can help make that happen.
Correct.
Is just fantastic. Now, this is funded also by the County of Monroe. Is that right?
Part of the funds is from the County of Monroe. So we want to thank Monroe County for that, and also from different other organizations. United Way, for an example. Wegmans is another huge funder of ours also. You know, and one way that they continue to fund us is by hiring quite a few of our kids into their workplace, and they teach them some awesome work skills through a program that we just began. It's called the YETA program.
YETA program?
YETA. Yeah, it stands for the Youth Employment Training Academy.
Okay.
And a lot of kids have come out of there with, I'll say it this way, they've come out with their guns loaded pretty much. And the way I say that, the reason why I say that, because they're really ready to go out there and work with the customers. They teach them customer service skills, and they really build a big confidence level in them. Matter of fact, I think you just completed one, right?
Yeah, last Saturday is my last Saturday working.
Oh, all right.
Last training.
Oh, tell me a little bit more about that. What kind of things did you learn?
We learned basically about the skills needed in the work environment, like customer skills, you know, how to get along with other people, how to get along with your coworkers, your supervisor. And yes, like you said, my confidence level did get better. You know, when I talk, you know, I look people in the eye. I shake hand more firmly, I know, and they gave me a good confidence level.
Oh, that's great. Those are just, you know, it's interesting because those are the kinds of things that help you establish some expectations in the work environment, and then knowing how to act and behave with that. That's great, because most people don't have that benefit, you know. Just apply for a job and just kind of see what happens.
No,
so that's perfect.
Really well.
That's great. And it sounds to me like a win-win situation for both an organization like Wegmans and our community.
Sure. I mean, Wegmans has really, how could I say, they have really encouraged these young, mature adults already. And a lot of them, from what I understand, they have made Wegmans into a career place also. So it's not just, you know, being a cashier behind the aisles. They've found some good careers within the corporation also.
That's great. I always felt like education is one of the key areas that we need to address as a community to be able to prepare, you know, our young students and also the community in general. If we can raise the level of education, it's great for everybody. It's a win-win situation. That's terrific. Now, you said that hundreds of people are involved in the program. Now, as a youth advocate, do you have a caseload of people that you work with, of students that you work with?
Yes, each youth advocate, there's about over 40 youth advocates throughout the city of Rochester who are spread out throughout different public high schools and some of the middle schools. Each one of us have a number of 30 kids on our caseload. We mentor them throughout their high school years. We start mentoring them as early as 7th grade, but if we're in the high school, we start mentoring them at 9th grade through until they graduate. And the other plus is that as soon as they graduate, we don't forget about them. We also mentor them for the next year, their first year while they're in college.
Wow.
So between us, and we have a college coordinator who continues to stay in touch with them if they have any questions. They have somebody to lean on, and we've been able to see that that's been very beneficial for the students.
That's great. What's your feedback on that, Chris? What's your experience been?
Oh yeah, I entered Hillside in 7th grade when I was at James Madison middle school, and ever since then it's been good to me. I've been in the Roland Williams program. I was in YETA program, and been a great experience for me. Everything.
Now you hopefully get hired at Wegmans, right?
Wegmans.
Or some company.
Okay, very nice. That's great. Now I heard recently you attended the financial literacy program that was funded by Ameriprise, right? And that was just very recent. It's a new program that's available.
I think that one is the one that I was probably involved in.
Okay.
And it was the training that I went through.
Okay.
And it was very informative also. So it was probably the 5 weeks we get it crunched up in like 4 hours.
Oh, I see. Gotta do it fast.
But it was very informative because they prepared us with some tools and to take back home with us to continue to teach this to others also.
I see. Other advocates as well.
Other advocates and even some of the parents of the students. We have something called Parents as Partners.
Okay.
We have the parents join us for a meeting once a month, a Tuesday evening, and we have parents who respond, come to those meetings, and they come and receive different topics that we teach them on. Tax benefits, you know, financial literacy. Right now, what we just did this last month, and other things, you know, scholarships, just a whole bunch of different information. We definitely teach the parents on, and that's one of the things that we want to start teaching the parents on the financial literacy portion.
Mm-hmm. I think that's great. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, I think if the parents are involved and they are not threatened as much with what the children are learning, right? It seems like you agree with that, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because if you come home and you've learned a lot of things, but if the folks aren't supportive of it, then it might create a conflict in the household situation.
So basically, what we do, we just we build a relationship not only with the youth, but we make sure we build a relationship with the parents also, and it's been very beneficial all the way around.
That's great, and teaching about income taxes, like you said, and other financial.
Right. We had this. I forgot her name, but we had a lady who came in this last week, and she taught on, income tax benefits that the parents can benefit from, or the families can benefit from, and some free services that are out there. Instead of going to some of these places where they're going to get a rapid refund and pay an uncertain amount of money, there are some services out there they can get some free, tax breaks or some, help to fill out their taxes, and they still get, their income back.
Right. So if they do the proper planning, may not get the money in a rapid refund, but then they pay less, and they may not have to pay.
Some of them, the way they were teaching was they may not even pay at all.
Yeah, that's great.
And they get it within a week or two at the most.
Okay, that's great. That's wonderful. Because might as well help the money they saved is really part of the household budget,
of course,
as opposed to paying somebody to prepare it in a really fast fashion. Did you have any reservations before signing up with the program, Chris? Or
what do you mean by reservations?
did you feel like, oh, gee, I don't know if I want to get involved with this? Or did you immediately?
Yeah, I wanted. I think it's something that every teenager should know, especially like starting to get a job and starting to work and starting to get money every week now. So I think that is good for every aging adult, anybody that's a teenager going older.
Are you finding that the acceptance is the same among your peers? Are they equally enthusiastic like you are? Well, that's great. That's wonderful news. That's really terrific. Now, how do you plan on using what you've learned?
If I start working at Wegmans, that the saving and stuff like that'll be real good for me.
No, do you think you might plan on volunteering and helping out in the future?
At school, probably. I do volunteer work at school sometimes, so that'd be one way.
Because the program does accept volunteers from the community, right? So
yes. We're always open for anybody who's interested in volunteering for the program. Currently right now, I can't recall if there's been any volunteers because there's been, the bank staff or the staff from the banks who have been there to teach, and also the youth advocates have gone with the youth. So there's been more than enough adults that have been there to help out. If there is any volunteers, they can just simply contact our main office, and we could definitely, see what area we can use their volunteer.
Okay, and we could post the phone number at the main office, and that's...
It's 325-1517.
Okay, 325-1517.
Right, and they can ask for Felicia Smith.
Okay.
She would be the expert who would be able to guide them in the right area.
All right, so just kind of be able to use their expertise in whatever program might be appropriate. That's great. Is there, like you said, a follow-up with the students, like 1 year after they graduate? How does that work? That seems to be like a daunting task to try to kind of connect with everybody.
It is, nothing's, too easy. But it's very rewarding when you're able to follow up with somebody and you find out that they're still on track and they're still pursuing the original goals that they have established with their youth advocate, or if they even changed them, but they're still pursuing an education. And once again, it doesn't mean that we go 100% and track down every one of the kids a full year after they graduated from high school, but we leave the lines open for them to call us up and that we can still mentor them through. And to be honest with you, there are some students that their feet are so, how can I say, they're so stable that they sometimes don't, they don't need to call us back, and they've done well on their own by the time they graduate from high school, and they keep on going forth and pursue their education in any of the universities or the colleges.
That's great. That's great. So it sounds like also many of the graduates of the program pursue college degrees. And
majority of our students go on forth and get their post-secondary education.
Wonderful. That's great. That's really great. So now you are a senior in high school, is that correct?
No, I'm a sophomore.
Oh, sophomore. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so you've got
a big sophomore.
So you've got a couple more years then that you can be involved in the program. That's great. So like you said, you started in 7th grade.
Yes.
So it's been part of you for a bit of time. Now, are the advocates like in the same school, or the kids get different advocates throughout the years? How does that work?
No, that's the benefit of the program, because the advocates will mentor that student as long as they're in the same high school. So for an example, I have Chris Rush as my student at Franklin. He's a sophomore right now. I had him with me as a 9th grader, and as long as I stay in Franklin, he stays in Franklin, I will be his advocate until the day he graduates from high school.
I see, okay.
And the concept is build a strong relationship with the advocate or with the mentor. Because when if they jump around with new advocates every year, then really that defeats the purpose. So we want to be able to build a strong relationship with the youth, and we've been able to see that happen, definitely.
That's great. The continuity is a key to making the program successful, it sounds like.
Correct.
Yeah, the continuity of message and familiarity and trust and all that. That's great. You must feel really good. I mean, the results that
no, it's very rewarding.
Yeah, that's terrific. How do you plan, and how old is the program again?
The Work Scholarship Program, or the Roland Williams Program?
The Work Scholarship Program.
The Work Scholarship Program originally started in 1987, between 86 or 87, and it didn't start with Hillside as the Hillside Work Scholarship. It started as the Wegmans Work Scholarship Program. And from my understanding, it started, and it was a call or plead from now Mayor Bill Johnson. Back then he was the president of Urban League. He made a plea to many corporations or businesses in the Rochester area to invest into the youth of today, because the graduation rate in the public schools were so low. And he was basically saying to the corporation, what can you do to try to mentor some of these kids? You know, what can you offer? And as soon as Robert Wegmans got ear of that, he jumped on the bandwagon, and he really gave it his all, and came up with this, the Wegmans Work Scholarship Program. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they started with 30 students, and I think they had one advocate back then. And it kept on growing until 1994, if I'm not mistaken. Wegmans collaborated together with Hillside, and because that is our expertise working with youth, we were able to, take it on, and Wegmans continued to be a strong backbone for us as far as hiring the kids, but now we're the ones that mentor the kids in the high school. So it's been a good, a great partnership.
It's great. It's like the community really working together.
Definitely.
Government and private sector, and then the advocates, the students. And
the good thing is that it's not just Wegmans now who's the employer. Now we have quite a few other employers throughout the city of Rochester that have hired some of our students. And that's what really I love about the program, because a lot of the other companies are getting wind of this, and they're seeing that it's becoming a benefit for them also.
That's great. So basically in the program, you try to find employers that can be matched up with the students and create an environment that will train and help them become successful employees for the organization, and then move on to college.
And we as youth advocates, we stay in touch with the employer, so we just don't let the employer alone deal with the student. They build a relationship with us also. So like that, if they're going through some sort of concern for the employee, they can easily access our number, call us up and say, you know what, I noticed Chris is kind of withdrawn this week. Do you know if anything's going on? Then I can, come in, help out, and it'll make everyone's life a lot easier to be able to work with Chris and embrace the employee and the student at the same time.
I see. So if there's a concern like that and the employer didn't have time to follow through, there's this web of people helping each other out.
They call us up, we call them up periodically also, at least once a month. We call up the employer to see how everything is flowing with the student. And it just builds this sense of accountability between all three of us.
Sure.
So it's been very, very good.
That's remarkable. Now, how different is that from the Roland Williams program?
Roland Williams program is just 5 weeks that they train the students.
I see, got it.
On financial literacy.
All right.
Teaching them the fundamentals of financial management. And after those 5 weeks are done, hopefully, we hope these kids are taking these nuggets with them and continue to practice them, as Chris has been doing. But that's pretty much it with the Roland Williams and the Summit Federal Credit Union portion.
Okay.
After that, we continue to remind them every now and then of what they learned, and hopefully they will continue to practice those.
I see.
tools.
So on an ongoing basis, there's the advocacy program, and then along the way, the students take the smaller programs to be able
Correct.
to go in depth in the various.
Sure.
I get it. Okay, that's great. That's terrific. And it probably helps a lot to have such a big name like Roland Williams to be. I'm sure, you know, it's like, oh well, got to check that out,
Oh,
right?
no, definitely. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's been a surprise to some of the kids because in some of the classes he's popped in as a guest.
Oh, nice.
So they have, you know, been surprised to see, you know, Roland Williams, and he'll come and sign autographs from the, being that he plays with the Raiders. And he has really sat down with some of the kids. As a matter of fact, I believe he's even played bowling with some of the kids. Because they do, after the classes, they do a recreation. They do an hour of bowling also. So it's not only teaching the kids, but they also spend some time together with the kids just entertaining them. And that's where the relationship building really occurs also.
I see. Very nice. Kind of inspiring. Have you had a chance to meet him, Chris?
Oh no, I got an autographed picture of him though, but we got to see. He sent us a the first day we saw a PowerPoint where he showed us, telling us like what the program was all about. So it was good. I didn't really get a chance to meet him, but I seen.
Right. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was like during the training time. So that's why he wasn't able to fly down. But usually he's done it, and it's been, you know, it's been a good surprise for the kids.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what are your hopes? I did cue you in this. What are your hopes, and what do you like to see the program do over time now that you've been involved with it for so long?
With the financial program?
Yeah, and also just the advocacy, you know, the Work Connection program.
My hopes out of it is, and I have already seen it already in the 4 years that I've been with Hillside, is just to continue to meet with a lot of my students after the fact that they graduate, or have they gone to the armed forces, and just to see that they have become productive citizens out there. They're getting their education. I have over 17 years working with youth, and it's just a big reward when I end up bumping into kids or adults. They're adults now, and I end up seeing them now. They have families. They're working for one of the big companies now. They got their own homes. And just to know that at one time, these were kids who were struggling. You know, they probably came from dysfunctional families, but because of people like myself and others, youth advocates who've been able to mentor some of these kids to see that they become productive citizens out there, I mean, that's a reward enough for me to see that. And, you know, and it's just, there's no words to express how much you feel.
Yeah, that's good, because really teaching them life skills in a way. I mean, that's kind of like, here are the things that you need, kind of teaching somebody how to fish, right? And they fish forever, so that's great. That's terrific. How many students have you been able to mentor all these years, been an advocate for?
Throughout the 4 years that I've been with Hillside, I've had the 30 students at Franklin. I also started at another high school at Marshall. I had 30 there for about a year and a half. So with the Work Scholarship Program alone, I would say probably between 60 to 90 kids that I've been able to work with closely.
Very nice. That's great. And what do you hope that the program will do over time for you, Chris?
Get me a job.
That's great.
Help me training like for life when I get older, being an adult, raising my family. And every Tuesday we meet together and we like talk about different scenarios about life, stuff like that help me out sometimes. So good, it's all right.
Oh, I see. So that's the pattern, is like once a week there's
Yes.
a formal meeting?
Yeah, we do a workshop with them, and we call them enrichments.
Okay.
That we do after school. All the advocates, they meet with the youth throughout their high schools once a week for an hour, and we use this curriculum called the TOPS program, which is the Teen Outreach Program.
Okay.
And it's basically teaching them life skills and positive decision making, and just a bunch of other topics that we come up with, community, how to work towards becoming a good citizen out there, community service, and it just continues.
So this is like a group of people then, the enrichment program,
Right.
that you sign up for or assume to be attending on a regular
More
basis?
assumed to be attending.
Okay.
We expect them to come and attend on a weekly basis with us. Some of us can attend because some of them may be involved in football, basketball, and other after-school activities. Some of them are working. I have 2 students right now that go straight to work right after school, and it was due to the YETA program, so they start working from 3 to 5 at one of the other businesses in Rochester. And you know, and basically throughout that program, we teach them other skills that they may not be getting at school or through the other programs in the Work Scholarship Program.
Sure. I mean, you talked about the skill, Chris, earlier, that, you know, before you just have some money and spend it on buying chips or soda or something like that. But then now you're thinking about saving that for buying sneakers or whatever it is that you want. Was that like a difficult process for you to change? What was the thing that made you say, all right, I'm...
Well, it wasn't difficult because now when they showed us like what you can get when you save and like how you can build on your money, I knew that was something I wanted to do, but it wasn't really a big problem for me.
I see. So it just kind of made sense to you, it sounds
Yes.
like. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So it's just like, you know, they say every little bit counts, everything counts. So that little bit of money that would have been spent for whatever purchase it is, setting it aside. Now, is one of the skills taught like opening a bank account?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's another thing we forgot to mention.
Yeah.
The bank does, throughout the 5 weeks, they do open up an account per student.
Okay.
And through the Roland Williams Financial, throughout his company or the Youth Lifeline, they deposit $5 per student's account just to open it up. And from there, a lot of the students have been able to take advantage of being able to continue to deposit more money
I see.
into their accounts.
That.
Yes.
Right, right. And I believe the Ameriprise Financial grant also includes something like that, where people can will have savings accounts and be open through Summit and working with them. So yeah, it's nice.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's great because it's really, you know, it's hard to get going. Sometimes hard to build that momentum. But if that account is open, it's just a matter of managing it.
Sure.
So now, are you sometimes tempted to use the money that you've built? Oh.
Especially it's holiday time, so a lot of money.
We're all tempted.
Yeah, it just kind of goes on with life. But yeah,
Definitely.
that's good. It's nice to be able to learn that early on then. So that's great. So do you encourage then other students in your class, among your peers, to sign up for the program? Because
Yeah.
it's something that's elective, right? They don't have to take it.
Yeah, at some classes they'll tell me, what you doing on Tuesday? I'll have to stay out of school for Hillside. What is Hillside? What do you do there? I say, well, recently I did a Yellow program and they helped me get a job at Wegmans. And they think that's cool and they think that I'm doing something good with my life. So that's good.
And then that might encourage them to sign up as well.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
about it.
It's nice to have that peer support instead of doing it on your own and then the others aren't signing up, you know. That's terrific. So if we have our viewers listening to us or watching us right now, if they're interested in volunteering, they can call the office. And we said that was 325-1517. And if they're also interested in making a donation, because Hillside is certainly a non-for-profit organization.
Bring it on.
Then bring it on. We'll encourage them to do that.
Sure.
Well, I want to thank both of you. It's been really enlightening to know about this program, and it's just really heartwarming to know that this is happening in our community, because many times we hear all about the negative things, and this is certainly one of those positive, you know, things that are going on that will make a difference down the road for
Sure.
all of us.
Sure, definitely. And all I can say, it's been very rewarding from my behalf and also from a lot of the youth's behalf also, to know that they have an adult other than mom and dad, you know, who's there and is investing into their lives also.
That's great. That's great. Chris Rush, thank you very much for
Thanks
being
for
here.
having me.
It's real pleasure meeting you. And Elias Maldonado, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Great work being a youth advocate. And on behalf of the community, we thank you.
Sure, thank you very much.
And thank you, our viewers, for joining us today. Until next time, my name is Nanette Nocon, and if you have any questions or comments, you can email me at nnocon@aol.com. Thank you.